Hello, my name is Jackson Mapes, and I will be trying to educate you about the RMS Titanic. The RMS part is big words. It means Royal Majesty Ship. The Titanic was 882.5 feet and 9 inches. I don't know why they had to have that 0.5 and 9 inches. It was kind of strange. But it was pretty big for the 1912s, and that was 109 years ago. 1912. I was born on April 14th, 2012, and that was 100 years ago. Huh. But yeah, it was a big ship, and in fact, it was the biggest ocean liner that kind of ever existed. But it may have sank or it may have not. There was a new ship that came out. This is not the Titanic. It definitely sank. The Titanic definitely sank. But the Titanic, there was a different ship. I don't know what it was called, but it was like this cruiser ship. It was more high tech. But it was bigger than the Titanic. Imagine that. Probably like 1,000 feet. Actually, bro. But yeah, the Titanic was a lot of bigness. And did you know that the Titanic was 52,310 tons, which is, a ton is like 1,200 pounds, I think. That's not right. Actually, a baby. But yeah, the Titanic was pretty heavy, pretty big, and it was super cool. This is a Lego replica of a Titanic, which is actually pretty unrealistic. I can point out like 5,000 different things. Not really. But there were, this had them. They just fell off, but there were giant like poles that did not attach a cord, which it should have, across the Titanic. So there were two giant poles and then a cord. But the people say that the Titanic had 20 lifeboats, and that's wrong. It only had 18. In this model, the Titanic was actually pretty wrong. Because if you look at this, there would be lifeboats here, 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 right here, 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 right here, 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 and then the same on the other side, which they did not get, which was pretty frustrating. Another thing that they didn't get is there wasn't the name Titanic and then a little hook, which they really should have got. I don't really understand why the Titanic, when it was going, it did not, it had an anchor, and it hit the iceberg. But they saw the iceberg, they could have launched the anchor. See what I'm putting down? If they launched the anchor, then they still probably would have hit the iceberg, but it may have saved a few more lives. But yeah, there was another pretty scary thing. If you didn't die in the Titanic when it was going down, you would have if you fell in the water. You would probably die in 15 minutes. And how cold that water is. If you look outside right now, there's snow everywhere. And it was like that cold in the water. I mean, it's hard to get your head around how cold that was. So if you didn't die in the Titanic, you would have died in the water. Though there was one person who, I don't even know how survived. It was kind of a miracle for him. He was the chief baker of the Titanic, and he survived in that cold water for 3 hours. And he did get to the rescue ship of the Titanic. There was a problem, though. Actually, multiple problems. One, the Titanic had funnels, if you can see it here. Pretty small. It had funnels, and there was only this one that was operational, which was pretty bad. Two is that the Titanic was missing binoculars. The Titanic had binoculars. There were binoculars that the people on the Titanic had. And the crow's nest, there were people who had binoculars. But guess what? They were locked in a cabinet. I mean, come on. And they had the key on the Titanic, but the cabinet was in where they launched. And they dropped the key in the murky depths. Great. So that's another problem. Problem two, the captain was asleep when the Titanic hit the iceberg. I mean, I think there could have been like a night captain and like a day captain. There wasn't. There's only a captain. What a bad idea. Number two, this wasn't actually wrong. This was actually pretty good. So, if you know about the Titanic kind of went like this. Here's my hand is the water. And then it snapped. But the reason that happened was because, like, right here, there's a fire that was uncontainable. And that fire kind of made this, when it hit, go up. And then this wanted to go up. Another reason this happened was because this part sank first. And water got in those air tanks. But these air tanks were fine, so that wanted to go up and go up and go up, and then eventually there was so much water right here that it just snapped. Like, it couldn't contain itself. It lost its what did they call it? Structure D? I don't know. But yeah, it snapped, and people say that the iceberg that hit the Titanic made a hole in the Titanic. That is false, to be totally honest. Though the Titanic did have a hole in it. The Titanic came down. I mean, like, it was just this part. The other part was floating around. It came down, and these were off too. But it came down, and when it hit, it went like this. And then there was this water that was coming with it, and it just smacked it hard. It kind of broke the back, but when it smacked it, this little thing went flying off a few miles away. Actually, it just went, and then water spewed out that way. Though there was another thing right here, kind of where the iceberg hit. That was the weakest position. So when it hit, that also came out, and that's where we see the hole. But yeah, the Titanic was a massive ship, and it sadly sank. Though people claim that the captain of the Titanic went to the bridge, and went down with the ship. Others claim he went on a lifeboat. And I'm inclined to say that he actually did go on the bridge, though I do think he is a selfish coward. Because, I mean, just sign a day captain and a night captain. Actually, he may have, but still, probably should have been looking. And also, they turned their radio off. Like, right when they hit the iceberg. Oh, there's the iceberg. I'm going to turn my radio off. I mean, why? And there's another ship, like a few kilometers from there, who also had their radio off. Well, you guys could have saved them.
But yeah, the Titanic was a big ship and it was pretty important. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and bye!